Welcome in, everybody. Hope you had a fantastic 4th of July weekend. This is the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. In this episode, man, we got some burning questions from the Rocket Man himself, Bo Nix, needing to have a hot start. What kind of pressure is that going to put on Bo Nix? The looming contracts in this stacked roster, as well as building block players. Who's going to be the building block player of the future? We're going to get to all that and more starting right about now. Let's go. Welcome. Man, I haven't seen a full panel like this, and I don't know how long, and I don't know how long you have either. Welcome into the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. Catching you on a special night. Didn't want to go live on the 4th. Hope you guys all had a fun, fantastic, safe, just all around wonderful 4th of July. I know I had a great one hanging out with the family. I'm going to maybe ask everybody around the horn just really quick, since we got this full panel, how their 4th was. I got a little bit of a clue from a couple of these guys, but Jody, welcome in. How was your 4th, buddy?
It was really good. Got a good camping trip in. Got back today. Really good. No complaints. You guys?
All right, I'll go over to Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. We'll just keep it going all the way around.
Oh, hours away from my vacation. Just ended today. So was down to Jersey Shore, a place called Wildwood. Spent the 4th there with a couple friends and family, and had a great time. Got a little burnt, but I'm going to live with it. And we'll go from there. But no, happy 4th, everybody. Hope everybody had a good one. I sure did. Let's go Broncos. Let's have a fun one tonight.
And let's bring him in. He's almost didn't make the launching pad, but he got here right as the show went live. The Rocket Man himself. How was your 4th, Rocket Man?
Doing well, Keith, and it was a great 4th of July. I mean, just to be able to spend time with family and friends. We had a barbecue and everything. Then we got a chance to watch fireworks. So it's a great time, just kind of lay back, relax, and enjoy those fun times with family and friends.
I came on here. I talked about family, friends, fireworks, and food. Hopefully everyone got their fill. I know it was a fantastic one for me. Broncos country. I want to see if you guys are weighing in. I see the comments are coming in galore. So I got to say hello to some friends of the show. We got this one that came in before we even hit the live. That's Mr. Michael Ronquillo giving us the mile-high salute right there over there on YouTube. Mr. Graham coming in as well, saying hello, everybody. Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick saying hello back to everybody. Good to see you, Kenny. Mr. Ernie Mays, hello, Keith, Bo Nix, 13-4-0 and beyond. Ernie Mays, you keep preaching about how good this Broncos team is, and everyone's going to keep catching up to you, like I think they are. Broncos country and the media alike are all about what Broncos country are going to be able to do this year. And we'll maybe get into maybe some of the pressures that might bring here in just a moment as well. Michael Ronquillo did come in and say, good evening, Keith, Trevor, Jody, and Kenny, and go Bo Broncos. Got the blue and orange hearts, got that mile-high salute, man. Michael Ronquillo, man. We love him.
That is with 100 fireworks as well.
Man, blowing up this evening. coming on here, lighting us up with the fireworks. We appreciate it. Michael Ronquillo, 100 stars. Way to get us kicked off before we even get kicked off this evening. And hopefully we don't get kicked off, but we're kicking it off right now on a fantastic show. Mr. Patrick Wiltsey coming in saying, aloha, my horseman. Brothers, I was in San Antonio. Absolutely wonderful. Well, awesome, man. Glad that you got stateside, buddy.
And Keith, that is 200 fireworks for the 4th of July. It's not stars today; it's fireworks. When we get it's replaces stars, we're going to call them fireworks. So we got fireworks from Patrick as well.
Nice. Well, thank you, Patrick. Man, coming in here,
Patrick, as always.
Yeah, absolutely. Love the hang loose. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Getting us kicked off. Already 300 stars in the bank this evening. And man, we can always bank on the posse coming in here, being a part of what we do. Got a new name too. Zach's coming in here, coming in over on Facebook and saying, "What's up, fellas? Good to see you, Zach." Just talking some Broncos, as we always do on the Denver Bronco Roundup podcast. But I think, especially since we kind of turn this over to somebody else, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch my screen just a little bit, man. We have Rocketman's burning questions. Rocketman, give me just a second as I get everything loaded up I need to. But you can talk for a second and maybe come up with where you came up with these fantastic questions that you came up with for our show this evening.
I mean, first and foremost, it was me that came up with some of these topics, but it's all of our topics just in general because we all have to agree to it. But actually, Sean Payton come up with one of them because these were not Sean Payton, I should say Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. I should say, to be frank, he was one because he spoke upon the Broncos, and this is kind of going to lead into our first topic and burning questions that we have. Bo Nix. I mean, the Broncos are expecting or wanting Bo Nix to come out firing to open this season, to start this season this year. So they don't want him to struggle this season. And no way it does, of course. But from what that quote kind of told me, that report told me, Keith and Posse and you got and everybody, what it tells me is the Broncos, maybe there's a little bit more pressure on Bo Nix maybe than we first thought. Yeah, we've talked about it ever since they drafted RJ Harvey. They brought in J.K. Dobbins. They got to help Bo Nix and be able to have a better run game than they did a year ago. But this report to me, it showed to me, it kind of seems like they're still relying on Bo Nix to kind of do what he did last season, but maybe take even steps forward and have pressure on him coming out and they want to throw the football. We know how much Sean Payton loves to throw the football, but kind of come out ready to go and we're very little leeway. I'm not saying they're going to bench Bo Nix at all. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm just saying they have high expectations for Bo Nix starting year 2, not going middle season of year 2, not kind of getting off to a funk. But I just kind of wanted your guys' thoughts and what you guys think. And Posse as well, feel free to kind of chime in. But I just thought it was kind of interesting. Jeremy Fowler, again, a well-respected reporter, kind of had a little bit of insight on what to expect from the Broncos offense and maybe what Sean Payton's thinking.
Awesome. Before we get rocking into those answers, I want to get Phil McLaughlin in here. He's saying, good evening, Keith, Rocketman, Judge, and Kenny. Just another great pod. Going to be a fantastic year for the Broncos, man. I'll agree with the last statement, man. I'm too humble to say that I'm a great pod, but we try to bring the best we possibly can. The pressure for Bo Nix coming into this season, Bo Nix has got to start out hot. The Broncos have got to start out hot. There's been a lot of talk of that. I'm going to go right down the list. I'll take the last spot. I'm going to go to the judge and get his thoughts on this as the question has been raised.
Well, I would love for him to start out hot. I don't think he needs to just because of how good I think this defense will be. It can carry Denver a few weeks till they get clicking. I mean, they got a lot of new weapons and, new tight end, 2 new running backs, a new wide receiver. They got new weapons here. So it may take a game or 2 to get clicking. Now, one good thing is he's going to get all the first-team reps in OTAs this year. He's not splitting with no one. So that should really help with timing and different things. So if he doesn't get off to a hot start, I'm not worried because I think this D is elite, and I think they can carry him the first couple weeks.
I'm going to throw that one back up there. Helen, thank you so much for coming in. New face that I haven't recognized before coming in saying things are getting closer. getting more exciting for this new season. Bo will do just fine. He's good under pressure, and a lot of emojis, including Denver Broncos for life. Before I leave you, Jody, do you think that is the case? Do you think that Bo does have the resilience to go out there? He does have the wherewithal to be the guy that comes out there and be good under pressure and start hot, though?
Yeah, I think he can do that. I mean, he's got 70 some college starts. I mean, he's got a full season under his belt. I mean, he performed well with, like I just said, no running game, no tight end production. He's going to have that this year. So I personally don't expect him to come out and struggle. I expect him to come out hot out of the gate, and I expect this offense to be rolling.
All right, man. One click further down the screen to Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. I want you to focus on, does this pressure build? Here's a franchise that went out there and they did go get all the pieces, right? They go out and they get the tight end. They go out and they get the running back. They go out and they invest in the wide receiver room. They've put that offensive line together. They're expecting a lot from Bo Nix. Is this pressure too much? We talk about sophomore slumps. We're wondering what happened to CJ Stroud halfway through his season last year. Is this too much pressure for a sophomore quarterback to have? And can he live up to that, Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick?
No, and before I answer, I do want to acknowledge Phil, because it did come with 200 Facebook stars, but we're calling them fireworks tonight, Phil. So you gave us 200 fireworks, so I want to applaud you for that. Thank you, as always, Phil, for the stars / fireworks for 4th of July weekend. No, I absolutely love this. Bo Nix was borderline rookie of the year last year. If it wasn't for Jaden Daniels' spectacular season, you're looking at in my opinion, the rookie of the year last year. And there should be pressure on him to do well. He's not a 20-year-old sophomore. He's 24 now, right? Or is he going to be 25 when the season starts? No, you're a veteran and you need to step up, and this is perfect. Put the pressure on him. You're the quarterback. No slaps on the wrist. It's okay, Bo, if you throw an interception here and there. No, get off to a hot start. Absolutely love putting the pressure on Bo Nix, and he should have the pressure on him. And I highly doubt he will have a sophomore slump. I think he's a mature enough player that he's going to be that much better this year. And under Sean Payton, I think he's going to do great things this year. And I see no pressure whatsoever for the Broncos and this offense. I think it's going to be just fine.
Well, whether you're talking to Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick, whether you're talking to our commenter here, Mr. Patrick Wiltsey, saying when the game speed kicks in, I think he will be something to watch. Whether you're watching, or Zach's comment coming in saying Broncos are going to be crazy this year. It sounds like there's a lot of faith in the pressure that's been put upon Bo Nix. And I'm going to rewind it just to what I think it was Jody that brought it up. I love the fact that he's now coming in, number one, all the snaps. He's coming in a year under his belt with Sean Payton's offense. We're flipping to year 2, right? We're getting further into that playbook, further into that mind of Sean Payton and what he can bring to this offense. We saw it last year, Broncos country. What did we see? We saw our quarterback, Bo Nix, come right over there into the face of Sean Payton because he believed he knew what he was doing and what he saw. And Sean Payton said, I get it. I get it. I think he's going to get it even more this year. I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited. And Kenny, I think you nailed it as well. His age, he's not this 19, 20-year-old quarterback coming out, hoping to figure out the NFL as well as life at the exact same time. He's a quarterback son. He's an aged quarterback, and he's already coming out firing in his rookie year. I think he's going to continue again this year. The pressure is on Bo Nix, but I think the pressure is something that Bo Nix and this offense and the culture of this team has been built up to withstand.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And kind of what I want to kind of touch on too, Keith, a little bit, if you don't mind. And I agree with you guys a little bit as well. But I think there's pressure on Bo Nix to a degree, because if you're a quarterback in the NFL, there's always pressure on you. The eyes are always on you. You're going to be one of the first ones to take the blame for something that goes wrong. And then you're going to be the first one, or one of the first ones, that get praises as well. And so I think there's always pressure on NFL quarterbacks, and just quarterbacking college level too. I mean, primetime games, whatever. I mean, Denver's and Sean Payton, they want primetime games. The more primetime games you get, the more eyes on Bo Nix in this offense. I think there is pressure on the Broncos offense. I do think that is the thing. Bo Nix, no, because in a way, I don't think Bo Nix does have as much pressure. I think Sean Payton probably has much more pressure than than Bo Nix. But just from this offense needing to be able to move the football without just it being Bo Nix. Bo Nix was a bright spot for this offense last year. I think he's expected to continue to build upon that. But I don't think there's as much pressure on Bo Nix to perform than there is the players around him to perform, and Sean Payton get this offense back on track. Again, you don't need the number one defense in the NFL, and then you have the 16th ranked offense in the NFL. You have to get that offense up to par. Personnel wise, this team kind of invested in that a little bit this offseason. Now it's time to go out there and prove it and do it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, man. Everything is aligning for this team to go out there and be something special this season. This quarter, right off the bat, the first quarter of the season needs to come out. They need to come out hot. We know that they need to come out hot. They've been needing it to do so year after year, but year after year, they've kind of come out a little bit flat. This is the year. This is the year where everything comes together and it just seems right. We come out hot. It's like everyone's saying there in the posse, man. They're excited. They're built up and they're excited about what they think the potential of this team has, because of all the pieces, because of all the parts, and mainly because of the guy that we have on the screen there, Mr. Bo Nix. Michael Ronquillo coming in here. I don't know if he's saying it's the last question of the night because he's got to get out of here. We're going to hang out for another 40 minutes or so, so feel free to hang out with us, Michael. But he says he has a question for the panel, and he comes in here dropping stars, so got to get to this. Also, I think it plays really relevant into what we're talking about right now. He does have one question. Which position will have the most impact? The Broncos offense or the Broncos defense? Kenny, the last question of the night with Facebook stars. Which position or which position on each for the offense and the defense? I'm a little, maybe someone can help clarify, or Michael can. I want to make sure I get this right.
I think it's positional group, offense or defense side of the ball. I think the defensive side of the ball or offensive side of the ball. I think that's what he's meaning, which will have the most impact, like which will be better next season. I think that's what he meant.
All right, Michael, if you can clarify it, we're going to give you a few seconds to clarify. I want to make sure I get the right question, right answer for you. We'll leave this up on the screen. This offense, this defense has added, pieces and parts, whether you talk about through free agency, whether you start talking about through the draft. This team, even though, it's kind of been built up and seems like it's been built up around pieces from Sean Payton's past, is now quickly starting to transition to a home-built team. With a few additions, don't get me wrong, but maybe a little bit different than what we first saw come out the gate. Well, we're getting answers. I don't see any more from Michael Ronquillo really, again, specifying. Michael James comes in. He's given us one side of the ball, one position group. He's saying defense, linebackers will make the biggest difference. I like the way he's going here. I think we'll keep this format since Michael didn't also include anything else in the comments. So he's going on the defensive side of the ball and exclusively to the linebackers. I guess he really likes what Dre Greenlaw is going to be bringing to the table. I know that a few of us have said the same. He's saying he's loving the question, bro. Let's go right down the panel. Since my face is covered up, I'll go up the panel. Since I'll go to Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick, then Mr. Jody the Judge Moncrief, and then of course the Trevor Rocketman Salzman. Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick.
I'll answer it two ways from Michael. I'm going to say defense, and I'll give you a group. I think it's going to be the front four. This defense is ceiling and it's not taking anything away from the offense, but I think that the defense can be the best defense, number one defense in the NFL when it's all said and done. I think the ceiling for the offense could be a top 5 offense, which is nothing to be ashamed of. But I really think this defense could be number one in the NFL. So it's got to be the defense for me. And I'm going to go to front four with Zach Allen, Benito, Franklin Myers, and Jonathan Cooper. I think that's going to be the position group that's going to be the biggest impact on the defensive side of the ball.
Very good. Well, I'm just going to jump Bo Nix off the page. Kenny's like, hey, cover me up because you're getting covered up, Keith. So I'll just make sure nobody's covered up right now. That's interesting. Defensive line. I'll still keep it the same pattern, though. Mr. Jody, the Judge Moncrief, right over there. He's going to go next. Which side of the ball? What position group?
I'm going to go tight end. I don't think Evan Ingram may put up a lot of yards, but I think he's going to have a lot of catches, and he's going to have a lot of impactful catches, third down catches, those over the middle passes that we were missing on third down from tight ends. That's where I think you're going to see the impact.
Very good. Gotcha. So I think Michael's right up on that same page. We'll keep on what we're doing. We'll go one more time around the horn, and you guys will all go to the opposite side of the ball, so we get both sides, both of what Michael's wanting. So Trevor, what's your first one? Offense or defense? What position group? And what position, or what side of the ball, what position group?
Defense first and foremost, and it's the secondary. I mean, I think it's say cornerback. If going specific group, I just think with this cornerback room, what they've been able to add, Jahade Barron, Sean Payton's already spoken pretty highly of him already. He said the traits that he brings to the table was really hard to find. So I think Jahade Barron, I will continue to say, I think he's a special player in that secondary. Just what they've been able to do to improve that. A cornerback room, I think, is absolutely huge and it will be huge for the Broncos this season.
Okay. I don't think there's any really bad and wrong answers here. I'm going to double down on the linebackers. I'm going to go, Dre Greenlaw once again. What we could possibly have in a Dre Greenlaw lurking in the middle could be something that we haven't seen from a linebacker in Broncos country in quite some time. I was going to make this at one point a reminiscing episode. So, you start thinking back to all the great linebackers we may have had. That's what I'm expecting. That's what I am expecting out of the best of Drake Greenlaw. So I'll go linebackers first. Trevor, I'm going to reverse it back around. I'm going to start with you. You went on the defensive side of the ball. Go offense. What do you think is going to be the biggest impact there?
I'm going to go offensive line. I think that offensive line is one of the best offensive line, I think, in football. They can, without that offensive line, Bo Nix is able to get the football off. Now he helps the offensive line as well, getting the football out of his hands pretty quickly. We all know that, but again, be able to run the football at a more consistent rate, I think is absolutely huge. So for me, it's got to be the offensive line. I think first and foremost, I think that's where it starts, and I think that's where it ends. Without that offensive line being where they are, I don't think you have a shot to be able to move the football.
Very good, man. Offensive line, it's going to be a tough one to weigh against, but there are some ways to weigh against it. Jody, the Judge Moncrief, where are you going? You went defense as well, I believe, so you need to go offense. No, you went tight end, so now you got to go defense.
Well, I'll triple down on the linebackers. I'm super excited to see what Dre Greenlaw brings to this defense. We haven't had a linebacker like him since probably Danny Trevathan. 10 years ago? So a linebacker that can cover and D up against the run. That's what I'm super excited about. If he can stay healthy, we may have an all-pro at linebacker.
I'm not going to obviously disagree. It's what I was talking about. Zach's really excited about the offense. He says, look at how good we did last year and look at how many weapons we've added. Just saying, you guys, love your guys' opinions. Sounds amazing. I love what you guys are talking about. Kenny, give him more to love, man. Let's switch to the other side of the ball. What do you have?
Sure. And real quick, though, Keith, I do want to acknowledge Phil for sending 200 more fireworks stars. The only pressure, this was earlier, the only pressure Bo will have is deciding to hand off, hit a tight end, find a couple wide receivers open. I think he will develop into the same mentality that Manning had, they say. On the offensive side of the ball, and real quick on the defense side of the ball, he's going to win with the front four. You get that front four, guys, the defensive line, that's going to make that linebacker's job and the secondary's job just that much easier, and they're going to shine. So there's no wrong answer, like Keith said. The whole defense as a whole should be number one in this league, and let's go Broncos. But offense, I'm going to go a little different too. I'm going to go running back. They just signed J.K. Dobbins, and you got R.J. Harvey. Sean Payton's got a running game now with some names, and let's go. Let's make it happen, Sean. Let's run the ball and make an impact and make Bo Nix's job that much easier. And like what Trevor just said, the offensive line blocking in front of them, these running backs can have huge yards on Sundays.
I agree, and I'm going to double down on it, but I'm going to go around just a little. First, I just want to again acknowledge Phil. You acknowledge Phil, but thank you, Phil, for the stars. And I believe in what you're talking about here. Bo Nix is going to have a lot of great options to go to, and I think that I've seen just in the glimpse that we've seen the mental makeup of a Peyton-esque type of player, a guy who's more in the head than he is with his body and his arm. Yeah, it's going to bring longevity to Bo Nix if we're right. So I'm going to go around. We've invested in the running backs this year, but we've invested in wide receivers. We invested in tight ends. We have one of the best offensive line. We have Bo Nix as our quarterback. The weapons are starting to stack up. But if you're going to talk about the biggest influence, it's got to be the running back, because the running back is the one who had the least amount of influence last year. I mean, we probably, well, I don't know if tight end necessarily had the high influence either. But when you start talking about what really powers an offense, you're talking about either a passing game or a running game, and we didn't have half of that. We could still make up without a tight end and still have a passing game, a.k.a. Cortland Sutton and Devon Vele and Troy Franklin and Marvin Mims and all these people that we've invested in the past. Now we're invested in Evan Ingram, but this running game behind this offensive line, they have the potential to be the biggest mover, the biggest accelerator or accelerant on this offense. Man, the running game not only has the ability to get rolling, but should get rolling. And if they do, how dynamic does this offense end up becoming? Just phenomenal. Great question, Michael. Thanks for dropping the stars. And thanks everybody for, lighting up the night sky, man, with all these fireworks, man.
Real quick, Keith, 100
yes,
more fireworks from Michael. He meant which side of the ball. So if we want to rapid fire it, I would say defense would have the bigger impact.
Defense has the bigger impact between the two. The judge says?
Defense. I expect maybe better than 2015.
Trevor?
Defense.
All right, I'll be odd man out. I'm going to say it's the offense, man. It's where all the investments seem to be, except for one piece. Well, one or two pieces, or three pieces, or five. A lot of pieces. Yeah, it's crazy how we've ended up building this team, Broncos country. It's going to be amazing. The season I think we might have ahead. Another amazing thing, we have an amazing sponsor. Our amazing sponsor is Morgan Trinkets. Morgan Trinkets has been your headquarters for Southwest Jewelry, Southwest Pottery, Estate Gold at wholesale prices for over 34 years. Once a nationwide company and blowing it up from coast to coast. Now they're just hanging out in your backyard, northern Colorado, southern Wyoming, and they're peddling their wares from any show that you can possibly imagine. If there's a fairgrounds having a show, they're probably at it. If it's a dog show, you got it. If you got a gem show, you got it. You got anything typically happening in the northern Colorado, southern Wyoming region, Pearl's probably there. But if you can't get out to the fairgrounds. If you can't get to that fantastic local event that's going on, we all know how it goes sometimes. It's okay. You can head on over to Morgan Trinket on Etsy. You just type in Morgan Trinkets Co. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. You'll find all the Southwest jewelry, all the Southwest pottery, all the estate gold at wholesale prices, plus silver, sterling silver, 100% sterling silver. She's got that too. If you place an order over $50, it ships out absolutely free, and all major credit cards are accepted over there as well. Check out what Pearl has to offer. She's a fantastic supporter of ours. We'd love you to be a fantastic supporter of hers as well. Morgan Trinkets Co. over on Etsy. That's Morgan Trinkets Co. over on Etsy. And there's, I know, what was it? Cheyenne Frontier Days, I think it was. She's all lined up to do, if I remember correctly. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yep, there it is. Cheyenne starts July 18th through the 26th. One of the biggest events you can possibly imagine. Cheyenne knows how to do it, and Pearl knows how to do it as well. Check out Pearl while she's out there over at Morgan Trinkets. Rocketman, I'll let you get back to the launching pad. I'll get the next slide all queued up as you talk about where we want to go next.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting about 10 days away from rookies reporting to training camp. I mean, that's July 16th is when the rookie class reports to training camp for the Broncos. July 22nd is when the veterans report for the Broncos. So, being all that and all that information, we've yet to hear any contract extensions. Me and Keith, and I think all of us, have talked at some point in time about the Broncos. You know, kind of around this time of year, they like to discuss contract extensions, or at least we hear something about contract extensions. But lately, there's not been a lot of news. I've heard a little bit on Nick Bonito. I mean, some contract talks have started there, but other than that, we have not heard a lot of news about some of the upcoming free agents that the Broncos have. That is Zach Allen, that is Cortland Sutton, that's John Franklin Myers, and that is Mr. Nick Bonito. Are you guys worried at all? Is Broncos country worried at all? Are you guys worried at all? What's your guys' kind of take? I mean, literally, we're right there, almost to the finish line to get into training camp, and there's been no news of contract extensions yet with any of these guys. So, I just want to kind of know overall wise, are you guys' concern level with not hearing any news upon some of these guys about to be free agents at the end of the season?
I'm going to mix it up a little bit. In fact, I'm going to mix the cameras up just a little bit, so it makes a little bit more sense. I'll go to Kenny Kirkpatrick first because I think he has a couple things to say.
Yeah, thanks, Keith. I do want to shout out Zach. He says he's loving our talk. We love doing this for you guys, Zach. And like Keith said earlier, welcome. What makes our shows unique is that we engage in our audience, which we call the posse. So welcome to our posse, Zach. And keep the comments coming and questions, because we will definitely interact with you. And we love doing this for all of you, and we enjoy this a lot. So thank you for that nice compliment there. The contracts. I see one thing out of the what do you see out of these four guys? You see Cortland Sutton, a wide receiver, and then you see 3 defensive linemen. That concerns me, that you have 3 guys on your starting line that aren't extended yet. So my level on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 6, slowly reaching to a 7, because John Franklin Myers might be the odd man out. Everybody's saying he might not be back, but you got Zach Allen and Bonito, 2 all-pros there that aren't extended. Something goes wrong and you don't make these guys happy, they may be looking to go someplace else and may not want to be with the Broncos. So you got to be careful. Get one of these guys extended, and then maybe the other one follows right behind them. And then on the other side of the ball, Sutton and Myers, they might be the odd men out. But little concerning that it's 3 defensive linemen and 2 all-pros, close to a 7 on the scale there for me, Keith. I'm getting a little concerned.
Do you want to sound the alarms then? Because Michael Ronquillo also reminds us that they still haven't signed cornerback Jahdae Barron and R.J. Harvey as of yet, too. Does that turn it into a 10 alarm fire? I don't know. There's 10 on the Richter scale, I guess is where you're going on the scale. Does that change anything? Does that add any of the concerns in these looming contracts as we have it on the screen?
I'm going to keep it as a 7 because the rookies they'll sign because and then once they sign, you got them under the rookie contract. But these are veterans, and you got 2 All Pros there, and we all know Sutton. Like, are these guys going to hold out a training camp because they're not signed? And then what happens? A lot of times you get a slow start because they didn't play in training, they didn't practice in training camp and get the necessary reps that they need. And we always see slow starts come from certain teams. I just hope this doesn't happen, but it's a 6, could become a 7 in a week or 2.
Very good, man. Pressure builds on these looming contracts, according to Kenny Kirkpatrick. Jody, the Judge Moncrief, where are you laying in on these looming contracts and these players that we have that need to get paid here pretty soon?
I'm not really worried at all. Someone in the chat said one word, Walmart. We have that Walmart money, and this is where having the richest owners in football come into play. If this drags out into next offseason, so be it. I mean, you get another 35 or so from getting Russ completely off the books. I'm not worried. You're going to have projections. You have over 100 million in cap next year, so I am definitely not worried about it. If this defense and this team performs as we all are predicting, I think these guys are going to want to sign here. So I expect it to get done, though. One guy I think that may be odd man out is Cortland Sutton, just because of who they drafted this year. I think that may be a replacement.
Very good.
But I'm not worried at all.
Zero worry, man. He's putting on the point scale, 0.2 scale. You know, you don't even feel it if it was on the vibrations. Phil comes in. He was the first one I saw that dropped this, and then we're going to get to Michael, who also dropped some stars with his comments. He says, I think Allen first, then Sutton, JFM, and Benito might be midseason. He goes, I also wouldn't be surprised if Mr. George Payton gets a new little contract as well. And Mr. Michael Ronke.
Fireworks, Keith. Sorry.
Was that?
That was with 100 fireworks. I'm sorry.
That's okay, man. I appreciate you running the background for me and making sure I'm informed. Mr. Michael Ronquillo, though, also came in with some stars, some fireworks, the Ronk himself. Zach Allen comes first, Sutton second, and third, Nick Benito. Michael, I noticed that there's one name missing out there on your list there. I don't see a John Franklin Myers, and I'd love to get your thoughts on that. And I'd love to get the thoughts of Mr. Trevor Salzman. He's the one who brought this up, and he brought up the question. Then I'll bring in my final thoughts.
Yeah, so first and foremost for me, I am not on the worried meter yet. I mean, I'm not all the way up there yet, but it's getting pretty close. I do think that Denver needs to get something done with Zach Allen and Cortland Sutton here pretty soon because they both have void years on their contracts. So that actually hurts Denver's cap a little bit. They actually have around $50 million as of right now going into next season, to next offseason. So they can pay all of these guys, but you have 2 guys in Zach Allen and Cortland Sutton that have void years. You're going to have to be able to extend that out. This is part of the whole deal of, Sean Payton constructing those contracts, as we've talked about this multiple times. He likes to push money out. That's what those void years do. It pushes money out. And so it kind of hurts Denver cap-wise. So those are 2 guys I think you need to get something done with them sooner rather than later. Nick Benito, we'll see. I think the Broncos may want to bring him back a little cheaper. I think that's kind of there's 2 different parts to it. A might be, hey, they want to get ahead of the curve right now, and they're banking on Nick Benito having a breakout season once again next season, double-digit sack season, and they want to kind of get him, a little bit cheaper, kind of get ahead of the curve a little bit. Or B, they want to let him play out that contract, maybe franchise tag him next off season and push that out to where you can negotiate next off season. And then JFM, I think Kenny's right. I think he's one of those guys you're kind of looking at might be on the way out. You had the Broncos end up drafting Savion Jones this year's draft as well, so that's something to kind of keep in mind. If he starts developing, the Broncos like him, I wouldn't be surprised if they try to save a little bit of money and let JFM ultimately walk. But I do think they'll at least get 3 out of the 4 of these guys extended at some point in time. Denver also likes to do contracts during the season, so don't rule that out. But yes, I think that not hearing any news at all, any rumblings at all, it's a little bit of a concern. We'll see exactly how much the Broncos want to give out information. They're not exactly pushing a ton of information out these days. As Sean Payton and George Payton like to keep things kind of in house.
They do. George Payton likes to keep things in house. Sean Payton, as we know, likes to keep things in house, buttoned up tight. But the ones that typically don't are the players and the agents. And that's why my worry is very low to almost nothing. If this was a, you need to get my guy paid, this negotiation is going wrong. We're not hearing from the Broncos like we want to, should, anything to that order, you would hear about it. No, what do we get? We got Cortland Sutton participating. We had everybody participating. Everybody's showing up for everything. Under contract, not under contract, rookies making exceptional on their contract, and so they can participate, whatever it happens to be. Things are lining up to where we shouldn't be too concerned, in my opinion. Now, does every single player get paid? Does every single player get the contract? Does every single player stay on the roster? That's yet to be determined. And there might be 3 out of 4, as a couple of us have spoke already. That might be the case. But as of right now, I think there's good, meaningful, righteous conversations being had between players, teams, agents, and all's good and good. I think we'll be just fine. And it's a good place to be in. You can look around the scope of the NFL, and if anybody knows what the Cincinnati Bengals have going on with maybe their contracts, we're not dealing with that realm. And maybe it has a little bit something to do with Walmart ownership as well. Congratulations to Michael Ronquillo, rocking 20 years with Walmart down in Tucson, Arizona, and he's still going.
Give him the salute for that.
No kidding. Hi, big salute to you, Mr. Michael Ronquillo. Looming contracts, I guess nothing to necessarily be concerned about when it came to the overall topic, Trevor. I know, though, at the same time, we've had those happen in the past. We have had looming contracts. We have had questions, but it seems like this Walmart Walter Penner ownership has been getting things done and seems to be pretty good about the way they're handling their business.
Mm-hmm. I do think they need to at least sign 2 of those guys, I would say, before the start of the season. And we've seen that last season. We've seen that with Quinn Myers, and we've seen that with PS2. They locked up both guys before the start of the season. So I do think we'll see at least 2 of those guys get contract extensions before the start of the season. I think that's how it should go. You don't want these contracts kind of spilling out into the season, and now these guys aren't just completely 100% focused on football. Now they're focusing also on contracts as well. So you want to try to get these deals done as soon as possible. We're talking big money with a lot of these guys. It's going to take time, of course, but I think in due time, the Broncos have done a pretty good job, especially under George Payton and Sean Payton, of taking care of their own.
Agreed, man. Great topic, though, man. It's something that we're going to have to watch, and we're going to continue to watch, man. Like you said, through this off season, it happens mid training camp. Sometimes all of a sudden the signing happens, during preseason, a signing happens, mid season, a signing happens. It happens throughout the scope. We'll keep an eye on all of that, but we do have one more topic, and we've got a little bit of time left, and we can hit that as well. So Rocketman, take it away.
So first and foremost, our last topic of the night, and again, I think I want to thank my amazing co-host for agreeing to kind of put this into our show tonight. But and it's something we haven't talked about at all. I don't think this offseason is which surprising player has the best chance to emerge as Broncos' next building block. And I say that, guys, because, ladies and gentlemen, because usually every season, some player emerges into a building block. Now, how big of a building block is the next question, but usually there's those surprise players. We talk about surprise players making the roster, 53-man roster and whatnot, that maybe you didn't expect, but there's always usually players that you can add onto your team that become building blocks that maybe you didn't expect. So I just kind of want to throw it out to everybody on the panel. Do you guys have a surprise player that could be a building block? And if so, who could that be?
Any place you want to go first, buddy?
Keith, you can hit it first.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna try to go with the hottest take of the night. Then let's get this thing fired up, because as much as I love Evan Ingram, he's a short-term contract. He's got a little bit of an injury history. Can you imagine if Caleb Lohner ends up being that building block surprise player? Last year, Devon Vele came out of nowhere, 7th round pick. And now we're talking about him being the number 2 wide receiver on our team. Creeping right up there with Cortland Sutton, the big guy on our team. Can you imagine if Caleb Lohner comes out, fires it up, he ends up being that guy, that the flip switch? And let's face it, Sean Payton loves a guy like this. He could end up being an absolute building block for this offense, an absolute red zone guru. I'm going to go Caleb Lohner. I'm going out on a limb. Let that be the building block.
Absolutely. And Kenny, will hit you next. And also, by the way, this doesn't have to be a rookie. This can be a guy in year 2, year 3, just a player that hasn't been kind of on the radar, that's off the radar, nobody's talking about him right now, that could be that building block possibly for the Denver Broncos. So, Kenny, do you have a name in mind or a player in mind that could possibly be a building block for the Denver Broncos heading into next season?
I do. I'll go to defensive side, and if no one takes my offensive guy, I'll just throw the name out on the offense at the end. But Michael James is saying Harvey. That's a nice rookie there. Michael's saying Jeremy Crusher. I love it. Let's go with the Australian punter. I love it, guys. Let's go, Michael. But Mike Mai's going to be – and for the new people out there, Keith, I want to plug our Hot Take Thursday, our Facebook, on our Facebook page. For those who just joined us today, we have hot takes on Thursday, which Keith posts every Thursday. So check that out. A couple weeks ago, I said John Franklin Myers, 10-plus sacks. He doesn't have a contract yet, but he may force the Broncos to sign him next year if he has that 10-plus sack season that I'm calling for this year. You can build around him and go different direction on the front four. With Benito asking for a lot of money, it may turn into a John Franklin Myers or Jonathan Cooper. Maybe you think about moving him or moving on from him. You keep John Franklin Myers, you build around him. Why not? You want a surprise guy? Give me John Franklin Myers. If he's going to get double-digit sacks this year, I'm building around him. Let's go, Trevor.
Absolutely. And I mean, I couldn't. That's a great point, Kenny. I mean, John Franklin Myers has been in the NFL for a long time now, and it seemed like he really has hit kind of a special mark in Denver, to where we're even talking about him possibly getting a contract extension and getting paid. So I think that's a great point. Jody, do you have a name that you think could be our player that you think could be a possibly building block for the Denver Broncos going into next season?
John Franklin Myers was going to be my choice, but I'll go someone else. Luke Wattenberg. I think he takes the next step at center. I think Denver, this will be the first time for however long Denver signs, gives a center a second contract. I think he is the lineman you build around. Garrett Bowles is getting older. Mike McGlinchey's getting older. You may move off of Ben Powers to save some money. Luke Wattenberg is the guy that I think takes the next step and puts himself in, that top 5 to 10 center in the NFL.
I think that's a great choice. And I think great choices all the way around the board. I'll go really quick to Keith. I think for me, it's going to be Troy Franklin. This is a guy that I've been higher on, I think, than most. I think he has the highest upside in that wide receiver room. I know we talked about Pat Bryant and his ability to block downfield and be a solid pass catcher. But I think Troy Franklin, just what he did in college, that's just a guy that's got a lot of talent. It may take a little bit for him to figure it out, but I think this is kind of the season we're starting to see some of those bright spots even a little bit more as he's trying to learn how to kind of cusp with the NFL and have another season underneath his belt. I think Troy Franklin is a breakout player that we're going to be talking about in a year, like a Marvin Mims kind of season, I think, from Troy Franklin. I think that's what we can expect. Sean Payton has spoken about it multiple times as well. I like what Troy Franklin can be able to do and clean up, as long as he cleans up some of those drops and is able to kind of build and get a little bit of weight to him. I think this is a guy that can go up and get the football, and I think he's a football player and a wide receiver that just brings a lot of speed to this Broncos wide receiver room, which I think will help Bo Nix in the long run. So Troy Franklin is my guy to be a possible breakout player for the Broncos next season.
Trevor, can I give you my offensive one real quick?
Yeah.
You guys didn't know. Marvin Mims. You brought in Trent Sherfield to possibly take over that role for punt returner. Cortland Sutton's on a contract year. If you don't extend him like your previous question, Marvin Mims could be the guy that you build around. He was a second-round pick, not to be a punt returner. He was a second-round pick to be number one wide receiver down the road. Now's the time, Marvin Mims. You could be maybe building around him if he has a special year with the Broncos.
Can I throw one more out?
Yeah.
Audric Estime.
We knew that was coming.
Let's talk about it then.
Last year was Russ. We can't get through an episode without Estime being mentioned this year.
All right. Why would Audric Estime be a building block? Give me your reasoning there, sir.
I was kidding, but all joking aside, I have said the same thing Trevor has. If Troy Franklin breaks out like Trevor predicts, this will be an elite top probably 3 offense. He has the biggest boom bust, and if he turns into that 1,000-yard, 8 to 10 touchdown wide receiver, this team has Super Bowl aspirations.
I've got that just sparked a question for me, and I want to get the whole posse involved as well. Michael James, Estime, I'm dying. I love it. That's what the posse in this podcast is all about, man. Loving and laughing, man. Laughing and loving. But I got a serious question for the posse and for every single one of you. I'm going to go to Jody, Kenny, and then Trevor. Maybe a final question for me before we get out of here. More likely, 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard receiver. Jody, Moncrief, what's more likely in the 2025 season?
Well, 1,000-yard wide receiver, and I would probably predict. I think you might get 2 of them this year.
Oh my goodness! Look out, man! Look out, Kenny Kirkpatrick, man. We got them double stacked on the wide receiver. 1,000 yards, more likely. He's got 2 of them on the wide receiver, none on the running back. Where are you going, buddy?
Let's keep it all positive here. Let's go wide receiver, and I'll give you a preview to Hot Take Thursday. Evan Ingram, 1,000+ yards, 10 touchdowns, Bronco posse. Let's go.
Oh, man, I better save that for Hot Take Thursday. You'll get the rest of us in our hot takes as well. Trevor, are you going to make a fool out of me? Am I even crazy even putting this idea out there? Is it all wide receiver, no running back?
And this is a 1,000-yard rusher and a 1,000-yard wide receiver.
Yeah, which one is more likely, a 1,000-yard receiver or a 1,000-yard rusher?
I don't think you're absolutely crazy. I'll just say that. But I'll probably go wide receiver just because Sean Payton loves to throw the football. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see RJ Harvey kind of, put a little bit of boost in his receiving game, just because I think Sean Payton's going to love throwing him the football. But I think 1,000-yard wide receiver, and I agree with Jody. I think we see 2 1,000-yard wide receivers this year, and you're going to have to. I mean, you're going to need someone other than Cortland Sutton to step up. We've seen a little bit of a glimpse from Marvin Mims last season. We need to see more from this wide receiver room because the talent's there. They just got to be able to show it on the field.
Man, a lot of love coming in for you guys. 1,000-yard wide receiver. I agree, Kenny. Says Miss Pearl as well. Michael is the one with the 1,000-yard wide receiver. I finally got some love, though. Zach, thank you very much. The rusher gets 1,000 yards. I know that we have J.K. Dobbins and Audric Estime and Jaleel McLaughlin, but we brought in R.J. Harvey. I think he's going to be an absolute stud. I think he's going to show that he needs to get the majority of the touches, something that Sean Payton has a hard time doing. But I think that it's tough to get the majority of the touches when it comes to the wide receiver room. You guys just nailed it. You are talking about Cortland Sutton. You are talking about Marvin Mims. You are talking about Troy Franklin. You are talking about Evan Ingram. You are talking about, it just keeps going and go. And does Sean Payton like to throw the ball to the running backs? Heck yeah, he does. You know, trying to double stack 1,000-yard wide receivers. I think that's really difficult. You know, you look at programs like maybe Cincinnati where they're just winging it all over the place, and you get a couple of guys racking up 1,000 yards. I'm going to still go on the running back side of things. I just think you're spreading it so much, and you might have 4 guys with 900 yards in the receiving totals, and that would be amazing too. But trying to get 2 guys to 1,000, a little in one, might be a little more difficult than we think, even though it's going to look beautiful out there. That's my thoughts. I see some private chat comments coming in. If there's anything I'm missing, Kenny, please let me know. So
nope, we're good.
All right, brother. Well,
later on.
Awesome. Well, gentlemen, what a fantastic show. The Rocketman had us all lined up on the launch pad, ready to go with some great topics, man. But I'm gonna go around the horn. I'm gonna start with you, man. We'll go all the way around. We'll go Kenny. We'll go Jody. I'll finish this up. We'll get out of here for the evening.
Yeah, I just want to appreciate my amazing co-host. It's great to have a full panel first and foremost, and good to be here. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July and was safe out there. And I just really want to appreciate everybody in the posse as well. I mean, you guys were amazing, blowing up the chat, and I hope everybody loved what we did tonight. Kenny nailed it earlier. We do this for the posse and for our fans. Whether you're new, whether you've been with us for a long time now, we really appreciate everybody. I hope everybody has a great start of your week, and we'll see you again next time. And as always, go Broncos.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Love the posse, and absolutely go Broncos. Can't wait to go live again. It's going to be right around the corner. You guys everyone, you all need to be there. We'll talk about it at the very end. Kenny Kirkpatrick, little goodbyes this evening.
Yeah, again, end of the 4th of July weekend. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July and 4th of July weekend. Couldn't say it better, Trevor. You know, the audience, we do it for the posse. We do it for you guys. I love doing this. I just came back from my vacation. An hour later, I'm hanging out with all of you guys. So we'll be back on Tuesday. We're going to Keith and I and Jody and hopefully Trevor will be back too, the 4 of us. We're going to come up with something fun for you all on Tuesday. So thank you, everyone. We'll see everyone Tuesday night. Go Broncos.
Couldn't have said it better, but Jody's going to give us a try. Judge, what do you got, man?
I'm really excited. We're a month away from training camp. Bo Nix has solidified himself as a starter. I expect a big jump in year 2. I've said for a while I expected him to be in the MVP race this year. And I think Denver will take a deep run into the playoffs and let the chips fall where they may. I'm just as excited as I've been about a team since I can't even remember, since they signed Russ, maybe.
Ooh, don't say that, man. I was going to go
for a minute.
For a hot minute. All right, man. Right on. It has been a hot minute. It's been a hot, 58 of them right now, man. And, man, I'm just going to give all my love to the posse themselves, from all the star givers like Michael Ronquillo and Phil McLaughlin and Patrick Wiltsey, who came in. I know those for sure. To every single posse member who made this podcast possible, man. I tell you what, we try to bring every great comment in. If we don't comment on it, we at least try to put it up on the screen. We appreciate all your thoughts, all your ideas, and of course, your loving words and support as well. We go live every Tuesday, every Friday, 7:30 p.m. Might make it 8 like we did this because we're pretty good about getting on at 8. But we try to hit 7:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Hey, if you like, if you share, if you subscribe, if you're making sure that you hit that notification button, you never have to worry. As soon as we go live, you're right there with us. Thank you very much for Broncos World Order. We're powered by them, BWO, sponsored by Morgan Trinkets, and, of course, brought to you by Rocky Mountain Sports Network. Like I said, can't wait. Have a day off, everybody, and then we'll be back here on Tuesday going live, having you come along with us, man, the posse themselves. So we appreciate you. We get out of here one way only. Make sure you keep those boots in the stirrups, guns in the holsters, and, of course, the Denver Broncos in your heart. Thank you, everybody. See you very soon.